Hey, hi, and hello. Welcome to my kind of complaining corner today, you guys. I'm not even gonna lie. No, I'm just kidding, but like, kind of. We're gonna try and curb the continued habit of lack of action, drive, and motivation in the world. And for me specifically, like, I don't know if anybody else is having this issue right now, but ever since the pandemic, even before then, let me stop playing. I'm curbing the issue with this show. Let's just say that. So, when we go about our lives, something that comes up no matter what is conflict, and you're judged as a person based on how you solve it. To each their own when it comes to manners and common decency, as well as conflict resolution. We're all led to believe that whatever we choose to do is the right thing for us. But in those cases, I do like that religion provides a clear example of what should be done, even if it is a little bit idealistic and hard to truly live up to. It allows us to concede the sense of control that we think that we have. We shouldn't deify ourselves because we are all mortal like everyone else. We're human. God will never die. So when we're faced with the different situations and scenarios and conflicts that are thrown at us, we're posed with the choice of what can we do to solve it. And I think that's the biggest problem in the world right now. Due to all of these seemingly major differences, seemingly minor issues become difficult to approach. For example, a major issue in the world, in my opinion, is world hunger, and yet we are still debating the age of consent. We would rather have continuous arguments on when someone is allowed to have sex rather than establish the idea that food is a human right. Arbitrary things like that slow down the process of progress because while I may think it's obvious to have the age of consent to be 18, there are countries that go as far as 21 and others as low as 11 years old. Can you believe? I can't. Like, that 10-year difference is astounding to me, and I can't help but feel like those systems can't be seen as anything other than corrupt. But that is because where I grew up, the country that I live in, what's considered normal here, the perspective allotted to all of us while growing up. Everyone, I feel, talks in circles around the elephant in the room. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Running around in circles like chickens without heads, touting their opinions in a crowded barn. I don't want to talk in circles like this, but the gorgeous Lauryn Hill once sang, "It could all be so simple, but boy, oh boy." Okay, let me stop. It could all be so simple. Dropping back to the first episode, I listed out contributing factors to what I think culminates in these issues. Complacency, division, being self-concerned, and the lack of perspective, it all makes one big mess. So when I talk about these things today, it will be an overview and then we'll come back to them in later discussions. So what I mean by all of those factors in layman's terms is that we are all living individually, not believing in a drop in the ocean mindset, when really that's exactly what we are. By the way, has anybody heard that song by Ron Pope? It's so good. Please look it up. Maybe look up the live version or the acoustic. I don't know. But that's exactly what we are. We are a drop in the ocean. And with conjoined effort, we can make waves. So when I hear that people don't vote because they're just one person, it really does make me upset because each of them acting as one person had the collective ability to tip the scales. You fall on your own sword with that mindset, and it doesn't just affect you, and that's the problem. You're complacent with what is set up in the world, not believing that you can make a difference, and that's sad. But if you're self-concerned, it's not a problem for you. You're living your life for you, and hey, power to you. But separating yourself from the population and society is detrimental for you as well, down to how you were made biologically. It can affect your mental health, your literal health, and sadly, with how connected we are nowadays, it kind of makes people want to separate more, which leads to the division. The disunion of the world is becoming more and more prevalent over seemingly meaningless things that are taken too seriously by some. And I'm talking meaningless, not liking someone because of their music taste or because of their social presence online. That one in particular because it's mostly doctored and fake. Now, I do firmly believe that some things are rooted in fact, though, like certain social media presences. Trisha Paytas, for example, I do believe that she has mental health issues, but I also believe that they're dramatized for the media. But obviously, right? No. Because in this same line of thought, it shows that we believe what we want to believe, and more often than not, we go with what's negative, mistaking confidence for arrogance, naivete with ignorance, and sometimes a mental illness with a performance. We have to believe in others as much as we believe in ourselves. Past the benefit of the doubt and more like we're living in their shoes. Having a slew of mental conditions along with numerous medications would make someone act different than what is considered normal in whatever society they live in. But who am I to say that she's being dramatic? I only take one medication. So now we arrive at the lack of perspective. Like we all know, we believe what we want to believe, and sometimes you have to believe in something without tangible truth. Some people have no sympathy for the homeless, Some people have had bad experience with the homeless. But even then, moving forward, you should still try and broaden your perspective to what each person might have or could have lived through. So you can know people are starving around the world, but only concern yourself with third world countries and less about the people abandoned by society, also starving. You lose an entire field of perspective, which makes you less inclined to solve those issues. And look where that gets us. Nowhere, or back where we started, it doesn't matter. It's not positive for our future. We're chasing our own tails like this instead of just accepting ourselves and each other and the world that we live in. Because once that happens, you can start fixing, changing, and growing. What's the saying? Acceptance is the first step, right? Something I really want to stress before I go is that it could really all be so simple if you just accept it. I am a complicated young woman, but when it all boils down, I'm simple if you accept me for who I am. That doesn't mean you can't point out that I've done things wrong or help me change my ways. It just means that, hey, this is what we're working with and let's get to it. Once you can accept yourself, then you can really start growing. But as long as you continue to push down who you really want to be because of your family, society, yourself, you'll never change, you'll never grow. And in turn, neither will the world. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. It is 6:30 in the morning and I have to go to work at 7. So I'm going to be a sleepy McSleepy Pants and sleep at work. Don't forget to follow me on all the socials, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Check me out. Subscribe so you guys can get updates when the next episode is out. And thank you guys so much for listening. Bye.